The first punch wasn't part of the script. It landed with a crack that echoed through the arena. Raw, unscripted, violent. For half a second, nobody moved. Not the crowd. Not the commentators. Not the cameras. Because everyone thought it was staged. Until they saw the blood. Under the white-hot lights of the sold-out arena, Dwayne Johnson, known worldwide as The Rock, staggered a single step to the side. Not dramatically. Not theatrically. Just enough to register impact. The rival had rushed him from behind during a live promotional event. No warning. No build-up. Just a blindside attack caught by every camera in the building. The crowd gasped in unison. Then chaos. Security hesitated. That hesitation lasted only seconds. But in a live arena, seconds stretch into eternity. The rival swung again. This time aimed at his jaw. The Rock turned just enough so the blow glanced off instead of landing clean. His body shifted automatically, muscle memory from years inside wrestling rings and action sets. But this wasn't choreography. There was no cue, no planned fall, just tension thick enough to choke the air. The rival shouted something unintelligible into the microphone that had fallen to the stage floor. The sound screeched through the speakers. "You think you own this industry?" he yelled, eyes wild. "You think you're untouchable?" The crowd booed violently. Some screamed for security. Others stood frozen, phones already recording. Because deep down, everyone sensed it. This was going viral. The Rock didn't swing back immediately. That's what shocked people first. He didn't explode. Didn't tackle the man. Didn't throw a retaliatory punch. Instead, he stood still, breathing steady, eyes locked, controlled. Blood traced slowly down from a cut near his eyebrow. It only made the moment look more unreal under the lights. Security finally rushed in, but The Rock lifted one hand, just slightly, and they stopped. The entire arena felt that gesture. It wasn't dominance through violence. It was authority through presence. He stepped forward, slow, deliberate. The rival backed up half a step without realizing it. "You're angry," The Rock said calmly, voice carrying even without a microphone. Years of projecting to stadium crowds had trained him well. "You blindsided me," he continued. "On live television." The rival sneered. "Now they'll know I'm not afraid of you." A murmur rippled through the crowd. The Rock wiped the blood from his brow with the back of his hand. Looked at it, then looked back up. "You think attacking someone from behind makes you fearless?" he asked quietly. The question hung in the air like smoke. The rival opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Because the truth was obvious. There's no glory in a cheap shot. Commentators in the booth were scrambling. Is this real? Was this planned? We don't have confirmation. But social media had already decided. Clips of the blindside punch were spreading in real time. Millions of views within minutes. And then something unexpected happened. The Rock stepped even closer. Close enough that the rival had to tilt his chin up slightly to maintain eye contact. "You want attention?" The Rock said. "You've got it." The crowd roared. "But understand something," he continued, voice steady, controlled. "Attention earned through disrespect doesn't last." The rival tried to shove him again, smaller this time, less confident. The Rock didn't budge. Not an inch. He didn't retaliate with force. He simply placed one massive hand against the rival's chest and held him there. Firm. Unmovable. The arena erupted. It wasn't about violence anymore. It was about control. Security moved in again, more cautiously this time. The rival struggled, shouting threats. The Rock leaned closer and said something off mic. No one heard the exact words. But cameras caught the rival's expression change. From rage, to hesitation, to something that looked dangerously close to regret. Finally, security pulled the rival away. The crowd booed him as he was escorted up the ramp. But they weren't just booing the attack. They were reacting to what had just happened next. Because The Rock didn't chase him, didn't escalate, didn't turn the stage into a brawl. Instead, he picked up the fallen microphone. Blood still visible. Breathing steady. "You saw what just happened," he said, voice firm. "That wasn't strength." He paused. That was insecurity. The crowd exploded. He scanned the arena slowly. Thousands standing. Phones glowing like stars in the darkness. "You don't build your name by tearing someone else down from behind," he continued. "You build it by stepping up face to face." The chant started organically. "Rocky, Rocky, Rocky." He raised his hand slightly, calming them. "And if he wants to step up properly?" He looked directly into the main broadcast camera. "Next time, he can do it in the ring. not in the shadows. The roof nearly lifted off the building from the roar. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Headlines read, "Live attack on the RockShox arena. Blindside punch goes wrong. The Rock's response breaks the internet." But what truly went viral wasn't the punch. It was the restraint, the calm, the way he turned a cheap ambush into a moment of undeniable authority. A young fan near the barricade shouted, "You're the strongest." The Rock stopped mid-step. Not dramatically, not for show, just enough to hear it clearly. He turned, scanning the sea of faces until he found the voice. A boy no older than 10, clutching a homemade sign with shaky letters and too much glitter. "You're the strongest," the kid repeated, louder this time. The Rock walked back down the ramp. Slowly, intentionally. The arena buzzed again, unsure what he was about to do. Bringing himself eye level with the child. The cameras zoomed in, capturing every detail, the dried blood, the sweat, the calm in his eyes. "What's your name?" he asked, voice softer now. "Malik," the boy answered wide-eyed. "Malik," the Rock said, nodding. "Strength isn't about hitting back." The crowd quieted. "It's about knowing you could and choosing better." Malik nodded like he understood, maybe not fully, but enough. The Rock tapped the barricade gently. "That's real strength." The kid's smile stretched across his face like he'd just won something bigger than a championship belt. As The Rock stood back up, the ovation shifted again, deeper now, less chaotic. It wasn't just hype. It was respect settling into the building. He made his way backstage, disappearing behind the curtain at last. But the moment lingered. On the giant screens. On the phones recording. In the conversations already starting in the aisles. Backstage was quieter than usual. Crew members moved carefully, like they were stepping through something fragile. A producer approached him first. "That wasn't planned," she said, half statement, half question. He gave a faint smile. The best moments rarely are. Medical staff insisted this time. He allowed them to clean the cut, sitting on a folding chair while tape and gauze were applied. He didn't wince. "You could have ended him out there," one stagehand muttered under his breath. The Rock looked up. "And then what?" he asked calmly. The stagehand had no answer. Across the building, the rival sat alone in a holding room. The adrenaline had burned off. What remained was silence. His phone buzzed relentlessly. Notifications stacking. Mentions exploding. Headlines forming. He finally looked. The clips weren't praising him. They were dissecting him. The slowed replay of the sucker punch. The freeze frame of The Rock standing firm. The side-by-side comparisons. And beneath them, one comment repeated over and over. He exposed himself. Not as false. As desperate. Back in the locker area, The Rock wrapped his knuckles loosely in fresh tape. Not because he planned to use them. Because routine grounds the mind. A veteran trainer stepped in quietly. "You handled that like a champion," he said. The Rock exhaled slowly. "No," he replied. "I handled it like someone who's learned the hard way." There was history in that sentence. Fights. Mistakes. Growth. The kind of growth you don't advertise, you live. Meanwhile, social media wasn't slowing down. Clips from different angles surfaced, one showing clearly how the rival glanced around before attacking, calculating the cameras. Another clip showed the split second The Rock considered retaliation, the tightening of his jaw, before choosing stillness. That second became the story. Commentators called it discipline. Fans called it class. Analysts called it legacy management. But in truth, it was simpler than all of that. It was control. A network executive rushed into the backstage corridor. "We're extending the broadcast by 10 minutes, she announced. Viewership just spiked. No one was surprised. Moments like that don't just trend. They redefine narratives. The Rock stood, adjusting his jacket over the taped cut. He wasn't angry. He wasn't triumphant. He was centered. And that unsettled more people than any explosive reaction would have. Because chaos is predictable. Calm under attack? That's intimidating. On the other side of the building, officials informed the rival of an emergency disciplinary meeting scheduled for the next morning. He stared at the floor. He had wanted viral. He got it. Just not the way he imagined. As the event wrapped and fans began filing out, one chant echoed longer than the rest. Not about revenge. Not about payback. Just 3 simple words rolling like thunder through concrete corridors. Stand. Don't swing. It started with a small group near the front. Then spread, section by section, until the entire arena was repeating the philosophy they had just witnessed. Later that night, In a quiet hotel room overlooking the city lights, The Rock watched the replay once more on his tablet. He didn't watch the punch. He watched the pause after it, the breath, the choice. He turned the screen off. Outside, the city buzzed like nothing had happened. But inside that arena earlier, something had shifted. A rival tried to steal a moment. Instead, he created one that would outlive him. And in doing so, he reminded millions watching. Authority doesn't scream. It doesn't chase. It doesn't flail. It stands.